good morning to you, St. Lucia. What a glorious day it is. After we've had somewhat like 2-3 mornings of rain, we still have the cold, but of rain this morning, that sun is out, it's shining so bright. And if you're not feeling any joy and energy, stand outside for a little bit, get that direct vitamin D, and I'm sure you're going to have a burst of energy and just a little joy and warmth inside. As always at this time, it is the morning update with Lucia and Herma. I'm Mr. Joseph alongside the beautiful Herma DeMarc on this Friday. Herma.
Good morning, Lisa, and good morning to you, viewers as well, those of you on channel 122, our Facebook as well as YouTube channels. We appreciate you joining us every morning. And just to add to Lisa's, introduction, yes, if you are having the blues today, one of the things I think always helps is gratitude. Count those blessings, and you'll surely feel better. All right, or it will get you to where you need to go this morning.
Okay, on spot time. What are you grateful for, Herma?
I'm grateful that I can be here this morning. I am grateful that I have a job. I am grateful that I can pay my bills. And that's what got me out of the house this morning. So I know I'm here with you.
That's some real honesty up in here. And some real honesty up in here. And let me just say that, so I'm grateful. Very grateful that today, Friday, January 28th, we can celebrate the day with two wonderful gentlemen here at the Government Information Service. We're celebrating their birthdays. Herma and I were running around so like some headless chickens, making sure that we can get that little gift package together. So we are the unofficial sort of
unofficial birthday committee right here, yes.
And so we just love to spread the love. And so yesterday, child, it was a task, but we loved every single moment of agony that we had, making sure that we did the right gift shopping. And we want to say good morning and happy birthday to Vibert Ramor, our technician, and to our librarian, acting, who is Mr. Avitus James. So a little later on, guys, yes, we know you know already the gifts are coming. So yes, the gifts are coming. Just wait a little while longer.
Very nice, Lisa. Of course, on behalf of the entire JIS family, we do need to send, and NTN family, we do need to send love to Evitas and Vibert, always working to ensure that they play their part and they're a part of the team. So we appreciate that very, very much. Just before we head to, the meat of the matter today. Of course, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs always keeps us informed in terms of our COVID-19 situation in St. Lucia. And yesterday, the 27th of January, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs confirmed received confirmation of a total of 225 new cases of COVID-19. These were processed on Wednesday, that is the 26th of January, from a total of 629 samples, of which 568 samples were from the Ezra Long Laboratory and 61 samples from Laboratory Services and Consultations Limited. These samples were collected on January 25th, 2022 and January 26, 2022. This number of positive cases makes up 35.77% of all samples processed on that date. So we're seeing still quite high of a positivity rate going on there. Confirmation was also received of a recovery of 89 individuals diagnosed with COVID-19, bringing our active cases in country to 4,209. Currently, there are 48 positive cases of COVID-19 admitted at the respiratory hospital, of which 2 of them are severely ill. Vaccination. If you are looking to get vaccinated today, the places that you visit: the VG Sports Complex, the Grosley Human Resource Center, the Soufriere Hospital, Jackmel Wellness Center, Inocare, that is in VA4, and St. Anthony's Medical Center at Sunny Acres between the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. today.
And we do hope that you go out there and you avail yourself of the opportunity. Don't forget that the vaccines are being brought to you free by the government of St. Lucia. You can have the AstraZeneca, you have the Pfizer. There's also the Janssen, the one-shot vaccine, if you will. So please get all the information that you can. As always, consult with your doctor. And have a great lengthy discussion of perhaps about all the things that you keep hearing and you want some really good solid answers to. Consult a medical professional on that and go ahead and make your informed decision to get vaccinated. But we spoke about love a little earlier and all that it brings with it. The good times, you know, and the thrills, and then the not so good times, or not so much of a thrill. Month of February is fast approaching as well, Hilma, and you know that's the month of love, the 14th of February, it's Valentine's Day. But before we get to all of that, we are showing love this month, January, for our Nobel laureates, Sir Arthur Lewis and Sir Derek Walcott. And we've been just talking throughout the month about the various aspects of their talents, appreciating all of their brilliance, getting all of their achievements, accomplishments to inspire us as St. Lucians, to have us, you know, attain higher heights in whatever endeavors that we are in. And also to the brilliance of Sir Derek Walcott, this renowned poet, and the Dramacan. Is it a group? Is it an organization? We'll get that sorted out. But there is going to be a drama production. They describe it as a comedy, and we'll want to know why a little later on as well. But we'll be having the Gopwell production being staged by Dramacan, and that's happening on this weekend. Homer, you excited about that?
It's quite interesting. So the Gopal Rehabilitation Center, I heard it, and there's so many questions, but we're getting those questions answered today. Joining us in studio, we do have play director Leona Sandiford, as well as Dramacan member with us today, Kejan Smith. Let me say good morning to you, ladies, and thank you so much for joining us. You know, be able to answer some of the pressing questions that we have about this.
That's pressing questions that Homer has.
I think so. We will try our best.
Very nice. So the Gopal Rehabilitation Center, it's the name of the play. But before we delve into it, like Lisa said, tell us a little bit about the group Dramacan.
Dramacan. Okay, Dramacan is an organization. It started off with the vision of Miss Danielle Dubois, very talented, multifaceted young woman. I met Danielle. We're both teachers. Well, indeed, she was a teacher at the time, and we started what you called TASA, the Theatre Arts Students Association, and it deals with theatre, it deals with drama, dance, and Danielle is she's very much into drama, she's into dance, and with all of this going on, I think she developed an organization with budding talents, secondary students, people who have left school, teachers. We're all in this thing together where we come together, we write plays, and we put on live performances. And she started last year or 2 years ago with what we call Gopwell. And they had that in 2019?
2020.
2020?
Yeah, so.
Yes, it started 2019, went into 2020.
Yeah.
So she had the first part of Gopwell in 2020, and we will have the second part of Gopwell this year in 2022.
Yeah, so how much of an evolution has happened, because you know since then. I want to talk first before we get to the actual, as Homer said, the meat of the matter of the play, in terms of how COVID, because when you came on with part one, we were not, really being stifled by COVID-19, were we?
I'll let Keishan delve into that.
I would say, as much as we were not being stifled, there was never a point during the entire pandemic that, of course, when COVID was introduced to St. Lucia, that we were ever given an all clear. So, of course, we did have certain challenges. When we first decided to put part 1 on, there were a lot of breaks that we had to take because cases were rising at the time. The vaccine had not been introduced. So there was no real method of, of course, washing the hands, wearing the masks, social distancing. There was no real method of controlling the cases as much as we wanted to, and we had absolutely no choice but to take breaks during the rehearsal process when the cases were rising. And even when we put on part 1, the whole fact that it was done as a film production, there was no live audience. We could not put it on for anybody because we had to adhere to national protocols. So it was challenging, but we still were able to become a resilient team. So
in effect now, so you guys are film actors now. So how does that differ from having your live audience and being able to get that energy from the audience itself and having to just look into the black hole of a camera?
It's a lot. I can say you must have a passion for it. You must have a love for it. And it is something that after you have left the troubles of the world, I will say, or your life troubles, you leave everything behind and you take that positive energy with you to the theater. And you always think of it as the audience. They're there. They are always there because there's always this fourth wall. It's the invisible wall between you and the audience. So whether they are there or not, in your mind, they are always there. Because even when you have a live performance and the audience members are there, sometimes you don't even look at them. Because in your mind, they are always there. You're always performing for an audience. So with this in your head, sometimes it does not even matter if they are in the room with you. Because
I'm curious about the process because when you're live on stage, that's it. There's no retake.
Right.
So when you were doing it to film, was that different? Did you have to do did you have many days of filming or did you just do it in one day?
Yes. So we actually had 1 day of filming, and I think the advantage you have when you get to film the production is that you can take as many times as you need to. So with a live audience, if you mess up, and they always say the audience or the viewers, they don't know the play, you know it. So yes, we do have the opportunity to cover an error or try to fix something that may go wrong on set, but nothing beats the opportunity to get perfection because there's so many times that you could run over again without an audience seeing. So we portray to you at the end of the day what we want you to see. Right? And that gives us an advantage. We get to bring out perfection, So as much as Leona said, the audience is always there because even if we take at least 5 times and we combine all of the footage and everything, the viewers are there. They're not here physically, but you still go online. You can see your feedback. You see the reviews that people, just as they may, blur out in the crowd on the night itself, there's still the aftermath and going to see what people had to say or how they feel about it. So it's kind of the same feeling. It's the same process at the end of the day. It's just that you have a chance to perfect it.
Yep, that's why I love stage actors. They're so real.
Agreed, and I like how you're already letting us into, the process. For persons who may not have seen Gopwell Part 1, and just in an effort to entice us about the upcoming play, can you give us a synopsis of let us in on the plot? What is it about?
Okay. So the Gopwell Rehabilitation Center, and for anyone who hasn't seen it as yet, is actually on the CDF page on YouTube. So anybody could just type it up and go look at it there. Basically, a gopoil. I will start off by breaking down what a gopoil is.
Definition. I like that. Thank you. I need that. I need the definition.
You need that.
I need
So
the
is a definition.
So we'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. So a gopoil is what we, in our St. Lucian terminology, our slang, in our culture, we refer to as a heartbreak. And it's not just any heartbreak, it's a heartbreak that somebody would experience after a relationship has ended. So we live in a culture, if I may just give a little bit of maybe my experiences of the persons around me, what I've noticed. We live in a culture where it's almost as if, you know, we train our people, we train our children that you don't speak about your struggles. You don't speak about what affects you. Even the way we raise young men, it's almost as if they're supposed to be numb. They're not supposed to, right, they're supposed to suppress every emotion that they're feeling. So you can imagine, you know, a young man breaking down because a relationship ended. That would make him, you know, look ridiculed, right? It's like, what are you crying for? What are you upset about? How dare you even show some emotion based on what has happened to you? And so what the play is trying to do is give everybody a voice. Not to spoil it, I won't spoil it, but there is a character representing almost each kind of gopoil situation. You know, somebody who might be in love with a married man, somebody who might be from the LGBTQ community, somebody who might have been involved with the church. And it just breaks down all the peculiar aspects of how a heartbreak could come about, a gopoil can come about. So we tend to give people like that a voice. What we want to evoke from the audience is that, okay, you could watch it and you could see yourself through what is going on. So in case you don't have the voice or you don't have the courage to come out and say, okay, this is what I am dealing with, you feel better that somebody understands you. The director understood that somebody somewhere is dealing with a heartbreak that they cannot talk about. And so how do we reach out to those people when we don't know about them? We form a production. We make it available to everybody, all walks of life. And when they see it and they see themselves through it, they relate to it. And that gives them that voice to come out and say, you know what, somebody understands me, somebody wrote a character, and that character was me, and I feel like I have that voice to come out and speak about what troubles me.
So now that's interesting. You were speaking there, and you know, we often hear about the life imitating art or art imitating life, whichever way you want to put it.
Right.
And you talk about the director understanding to be able to give that voice to those who perhaps would feel intimidated to be able to express.
Right.
But in terms of the truisms of what you want to put out there, director, were you ever at all concerned that perhaps the St. Lucian audience may not necessarily be ready or mature enough to really face itself in the mirror? Because you talk about putting up that mirror for the society to see itself, for individuals to see themselves. But there are times where we really want to hide from the truth. So how much of a sort of poetic license did you have, or did you feel you needed to exercise in order for you to truly reflect the hardcore nature of gopoil?
It was very difficult. After reading the script, I said to myself, oh boy, how do I do this? This is a question that we always ask ourselves. How am I going to do this? When I thought about it, I said, Leona, you're not alone. You have a core working with you. And so I draft out my plan. I met with the actors. I was actually an actress rather. So I started out being a cast member.
Everything is gender neutral these days.
Well, yes. I started out as one of the actresses, and throughout, I can say I was promoted to being the director. And because I had that sort of relationship with everybody already, it was a tad bit easier to get some of what I wanted from the actors.
So what exactly were you
So
looking for?
in doing that, I allowed everybody to go through their scenes, after which we had one-on-one, or I questioned them about how they felt, you know, about their character. After which, if I did not get what I want from them at the time, I would go home, sit. Sometimes I would videotape the process. I would allow them to see it, or I went home, I watched the videos, and I would do my research. After that, I sent them information, questions. I would ask them to do different research to help them build their character, to help them give me, in essence, what I want.
And so, in other words, so do you demand, does the process demand the sort of leaving behind yourself? Because, I mean, we all have our peculiar, thought processes, what our belief systems may be. So how much of yourself did you have to ask the actors to leave behind?
A lot of it. Although we dramatize every day, as you rightly stated, life is drama, or life is art, art is life. We dramatize every day. However, in becoming a character, you have to adopt certain characteristics or personalities to portray that individual. And so, in the sense where probably if you have to become a character, you have to be a villain, you're probably, I'll say, a lovable person, you know, very dependable. That villain would become somebody who is not likable. You have to take on certain character traits that would cause people to hate you. So you can't be you anymore. However, in that process, you might probably have to substitute certain feelings to assist you in portraying your character.
Nice. So Kishan, as an actor, actress, how do you get yourself in that space of mind? How do you prepare to become a character?
Okay. It's true that when you take on the role of somebody else, you may not necessarily be that person. But I do believe that although you may not be the person that you're portraying, you've never been that person before, I think you have maybe had similar emotions to that person before. And so my character was Dama. Dama was in love with a married man. And so I have never been in love with a married man. This is my truth. But she's heartbroken. Have I been heartbroken before? Yes. So although I am not somebody's mistress, I do understand the similarities in emotions to something that I might have been through before. And so to answer your question, when it's time for me to tap in, I go back into my past. Although every day, you try to be better, you try to move away from the things that once haunted you or, made you cry, I think it's very much rewarding when you can dig a little deeper, feel those emotions, bring them back raw and unfiltered, just so that you could tap into the person that you need to be. Because when you're telling somebody's story, it's not mine, as I mentioned, but somebody out there might be going through what Dama is going through. You don't want to do a halfway job. How is this person supposed to see the authenticity and actually relate to what is going on in their lives? You have to be real. You have to say, listen, I understand what you're going through. I empathize with you, and this is me being you for you. And so I cannot come and, I'm crying, but there are no tears. Or I'm breaking down, but I have a smile on my face. Really? That's kind of ridiculing somebody and telling them that your story doesn't deserve to be told to its fullest capacity. So what I do is I go and I dig up something that brings me to my fullest capacity, and I said, here you go.
So you could cry on demand? Sorry, that's just side note.
Maybe you guys should tune in.
Yes.
Tune in
in on Sunday.
Answer that question.
There better not have been onions.
Find out on the next episode of GoPwell.
Well, the next episode of GoPwell, you guys can find out if Kijan can cry on the mic.
All right. Everyone knows Kijan, be careful. But I'm curious, is Dharma blonde?
She is.
Yeah. Feisty.
I mean, when you say blonde, I mean, it's do you mean
the hair or the attitude?
Right. Because there's an attitude for blondes as well.
There's an, I thought it was just, attitude, hair color. Okay, I was just loving the hair right now, and I'm just wondering if it's part of the whole character thing.
I mean, the flyer would give it away. So physically, she's blonde. But if you want to know her character, I paid you to tune in.
So, and I think almost, before we get to that question, in terms of, so we talk about the GoPwell, we've understood what that GoPwell is. So what are some of the other things that come along, some of the other social constructs that come along with GoPwell?
The social issues.
The social issues that the play would be dealing with. You don't have to give too much away.
Right.
You just want to listen something.
Okay, so I do believe that each character has a backstory. And so when you look at why people make the choices that they make, I mean, we're human beings and we're prone to make decisions that, I mean, don't necessarily reflect the person that we want to be, but for the sake of human nature, we're prone to make mistakes. However, we can see that some mistakes that persons grow up to make can stem from some kind of childhood trauma. And so we can delve into the matter of religion in society, how the church would impose on its congregation or its followers that this is the lifestyle you're supposed to live, and this is what whomever that you worship, that is what is required of you. And so you find that if persons make decisions that go in direct opposition to that teaching, it causes trouble. It causes trouble mentally, and we know that if you're not mentally stable, you're not healthy, you're unhappy, you're unhealthy, you make decisions that don't really reflect the life that you want to live. We also look at the fact that there is, it can be a generational curse as well, which is absentee fathers, not having a father figure in the home. And of course, you have females growing up only being raised by their mothers. That too can influence the kind of decisions that young women would make in society, not receiving that kind of love, not receiving affection, only knowing that they're supposed to be dependent on somebody to get by in life. And they grow up and they have that mentality, they're stuck in the cycle and they don't know any better. So as much as it's a heartbreak, and I think that's what happens in society, we're so quick to judge. Why are you crying? Why are you depressed? What is there to be sad about? We don't take the layers off and realize that, yes, this person may be crying in her 20s about something that happened last month, a heartbreak, but this is trauma from the time she was 10. And so we have to really dig below the surface to find out, okay, it's not just this particular situation, because she can always go into another relationship, and what will happen if she doesn't change? The cycle continues. So we have to try to snip it in the bud, provide whether it be counseling or some sort of assistance to really tackle the trauma that influences that behavioral pattern.
Yes, so in addition to what Kijan said, it's not surrounded only about love and heartbreak. It's about healing. It's about toxic workplaces. It's about childhood adversities. It covers a wide range of social issues, and the play the setting is a rehab center. It happens at a rehab center where various social ills can cause human beings to go through situations that they can't deal with. And so they need to go to that wellness center, that GoPwell Rehabilitation Center, to get assistance to help them get better.
I know Homa has a few more questions on that, but before we go there,
yes, the GoPwell Rehabilitation
but before we go
Center.
there, we need to take a break. So we'll take that short break and we'll come back with him on the other side asking about that center.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. We know what to do. Get vaccinated. COVID-19 we won't lose to you. Oh no. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Time for a brand new day. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. To live and work and play. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. The health experts we trust. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Let's take our life back with a safe and effective AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The mobile vaccination drive is coming to you. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for more information. Let's take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
And welcome back to the morning update with Lisa and Hilma. We have in studio with us Leona Sandiford as well as Keishan Smith. They are members of Dramacan who will be putting on the play, the Gopal Rehabilitation Center, as part of the Nobel Laureate Festival. You know, over the past few weeks, we have been celebrating our 2 Nobel laureates, and this is just another way in which you can do it. Happening this Sunday, airing this Sunday on a number of television stations, and we're going to give you exactly the information that you need to ensure that you don't miss it. But we are heading into the nitty-gritty, giving you all the information that you need to be, well, prepared to take in the Gopal Rehabilitation Center taking place this Sunday. So, you know, before the break, we've been talking about the play and a lot of the issues that it's touching. You know, when you go to a rehabilitation center, it's about healing, it's about getting the help that you need. And just from listening to you speak, there's a message that you want the audience to take away. There are lessons. As much as it's comedy and it's always a great way to get those lessons across, what exactly are we wanting? Yeah, what do we want our audience to take away?
When Keishan spoke earlier, she mentioned certain things that happen in society. 1, men are not supposed to cry. 2, you cry, it's a sign of weakness. And 3, we had a society, well, I could say in my time when I grew up, it was okay to speak to your neighbors about your problems, your friends. You could confide in somebody and that would stay private. But we have become a society where we don't trust people. We don't trust each other, and we keep everything bottled up inside, and that becomes a problem. We're all not the same. What I might be able to handle, Lisa won't be able to handle. What Keishan can handle, you might not be able to handle. So I think this play is saying to all of us that you don't have to go through those challenges alone. You need to get help. You need to get assistance. It does not have to be your best friend, because probably you feel that best friend has another best friend, but you can find professional help. We've had a lot of that lately. We've had a lot of suicide. We've had a lot of mental breakdowns. And if you tune in on Sunday, you will get a piece of a lot of those mental breakdowns and reasons as to why those mental breakdowns happen. There's always somebody willing to assist. There are always people willing to be there. It's a matter of trusting or allowing, or I should say accepting the help. Because if we don't do that, we have emotional problems, physical problems, mental problems.
So what's the treatment routine in a rehabilitation center for Gopal?
I would really ask you to tune in on Sunday.
I'm trying to get the bits, you know, but Leona is like, no, you need to watch it.
I want you to watch it. I mean, generally in life, when we're going through situations, we get through it by being among friends. You socialize. Socializing, going out, having a good time, it helps you feel better. You understand? But if you can't get that part, if you cannot do that, it becomes a situation where you're not able to control it. You cannot deal with it. And that's where the depression comes in. That's where the anxiety comes in. And so we're trying to put out there that you don't have to get to that point. You can find solace, you can find help in somebody, in an institution. You understand? And when you do get to a point where you have that mental breakdown, some people do find themselves at the wellness center, right? Or prison. But we don't want it to get to that point. Yes, we have the Gopwell Rehabilitation Center. It's going to teach our people a lot, you know, of a lot of ways of dealing with those Gopwell situations. It's also comic relief. So a lot of it is we're looking at the social issues, but we don't want it to be something that people see and they're like, no, me, I don't want to do that. We want them to understand that life is not always too serious. So the comic relief, we are bringing in the social ills through comic relief.
And that makes it easier.
It does.
More palatable.
Yes.
But, you know, also, I'm not sure how much of that the play would deal with, but judging by what you've said, I suspect that it's in there, because relationships, when they end, no matter how they end, it's really a death within itself.
It is.
And so for those who go through this whole Gopwell, you have the different stages of grief that individuals would go through. So you're sad, you get depressed, then you move on into denial, then you
The various stages of Gopwell.
Not before you get to the acceptance, girl, you're mad as hell.
Before you get to the acceptance, there are stages.
Yes,
And the Gopwell Rehabilitation Center emphasizes that. So you will go through the various stages of a Gopwell on Sunday with us.
And that's honestly the hope, so that you guys feel everything that we felt, all the emotions and filtered emotions while we did this play. And there are certain characters, you think you have them figured out, but then you see them in another scene and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Weren't you just doing this in that particular scene, and now you're doing something completely different? And it just goes to show what you
the complexity
of healing.
Yes.
But what I've always said was the play itself is that sense or that method of healing for somebody, because you look at it and yes, you laugh through it, and of course it brings the comedy relief and everything, but there is no actual Gopwell center that you could go to. So you look at it and you see what the director is trying to do with her vision, or what she has done with it, and then you ponder on it. You're finished with the play and you sit back and you think about it and you say, okay, well, this is what I took away. This is the moral of this, and I related to that particular character, and in the end, that's what happened. So you try to put a foot forward with what you've just witnessed, and that helps in itself.
Nice. You know, Leona mentioned earlier having a team, a strong team, to be able to carry this, and I would love for you to highlight, you know, the people who made this possible. But just before we get that, how important is it to you as Dramacan, as members of, you know, St. Lucia's Literary Society, that this is happening during the Nobel Laureate Festival?
It is a great deal. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to me as a theater arts teacher. We don't see too much of that happening. There is not enough attention being paid to theater arts, and I'll specifically speak to drama. We hear a lot about dance. We see a lot of the singing happening. We hear it, we see the videos, but we don't get to view the plays. We don't see the poems. We don't see the spoken word. And to get an opportunity to bring this out, especially now in this pandemic, it proves to St. Lucia that the talent is indeed alive. And it's not just with our current focus, which deals with the music. Let's think of let's think beyond. Okay, so we have our students at the school. We currently have theater arts for CXE, but they do not have a platform to showcase that talent. And I believe by doing this, having it on live television, the students can say to themselves, you know what? I am going to focus on theater arts no matter what you say, because there is an avenue for it. They've not understood how to relate it to the workplaces. You understand? So in having a student do theater arts at school for CXE, they see it as just acting. You know what? Let me just go and act. But they don't understand the theoretical aspect of it and the process of becoming this other person and how it can allow you to be a creative individual in the workplace. There's the disciplinary aspect of it. You learn to be responsible. You have to go to rehearsals every day. You must be on time. You have to go to work. You have to be on time for work.
Discipline.
Discipline.
That's what it is. It's a discipline.
You must be responsible. You have to dress up for work. You must come to rehearsal a certain way. You have to behave a certain way when you are at rehearsal. So it transfers to your everyday life and it transfers to being at the workplace.
You know, and you speaking there and you speak about theater arts at the CXE level. And earlier this week, we did have the presentation by Dr. Claudius Pereville, and he spoke about St. Lucia's entertainment sector and its contribution to the GDP, which is quite healthy within itself. That's a good thing. But in terms of, it's merely a sort of local consumption, and it's more on the music spectrum, as you said. And I'm thinking how wonderful it would be for us as St. Lucians if we can have a national theater, like we've developed Dramacan into the biggest possible theater that it can, and have that as a traveling theater company, and how the world would welcome, a theater company from the homeland of Derek Walcott, because the world reveres Derek Walcott, his work.
Yes.
You hear people talk about him. We talk about him with so much pride, and just what the possibilities are that we can have that and get the best of our talent all together and have that traveling theater. I can see so much happening as a result of that for us.
I agree, and I think this is the path that Ms. Dubois is willing to take. It's a lot of work. And before I continue, I want to thank our sponsors.
Yes,
we have so many, so yes, we have to thank the Nobel Laureate Committee, the Cultural Development Foundation, Bank of St. Lucia, St. Lucia National Lotteries Authority, Digicel St. Lucia, KFC, Chemico, VHL Production, Creed Cool, Mora Media, All Bees Media, Audio Works St. Lucia, Shermack Designs, St. Lucia Helicopters, and Hardest Hard Restaurant and Bar. It's very difficult to put a production together in St. Lucia. Simply because our focus, like I said earlier, is with music and dance, and we've not really understood the importance of nurturing our budding actresses and actors here in St. Lucia. So getting this opportunity to put this on during Nobel Laureate Week, it means a lot to us, because people get to see what we are capable of doing and what Dramacan can do and will do with assistance from others out there.
Putting it all together.
Yes.
For the cast, how many?
It's roughly
20.
Oh, wow.
20. What?
Yes.
That's a big
Altogether.
cast.
Okay, I
Yes.
thought it was 12.
Altogether, there are so many names.
Right.
Don't forget, we have the director, we have the actors, actresses, we have the producer, we have our camera crew, we have our stage management crew, They worked extremely hard to put this together, and people don't see the hard work. You don't see behind the scenes. We usually see the finished product. It's never easy to put on a production.
That. We know how behind the scenes are. Trust me. The blood, sweat, and tears. We know it, and then when the lights come on, all of that goes away. It's action
nobody
time.
knows.
A lot of the times, even at home, sometimes you put a party together. People enjoy the food. But those who prepared don't get the praise. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I would really like to say thank you to the stage management crew. Oh my God, without you guys, it would not be possible. Our production crew being so patient with us. Lord have mercy. If they weren't so patient, Sunday would not be possible, even if we had the talent. You understand? Right. So I am grateful, and I know Ms. Dubois is grateful. She says it all the time. She says thanks to us. Let me tell you, Dramacan is different. You go to rehearsals, you have refreshments. Yes, we go on late, but bus is provided. So you're not just coming to rehearsals, and after rehearsals, 11 o'clock in the night, 9 o'clock in the night, you have to find your way home. No.
So it is really like a family.
Ms. Dubois has made it that way. She is different. It's not a situation where you have to find your way or you have to make things happen for yourself. Right. She went out there and she did the begging to make things happen, and we are grateful for that, Danielle.
We are.
Such an important aspect of it.
That is, and I could feel the love pouring out for Danielle. Danielle, great job, wonderful, wonderfully done.
She's amazing.
So, what's the main difference between 1 and part 2?
I believe that 1 is an introduction. So you come in and you're introduced to the center. You know how the center runs. You're introduced to the characters. This is this person, and this is the reason she's here. This is whomever, and this is the reason that he's here. And that's pretty much it.
Yes.
I think part 2 goes way deeper. Part 2 unveils why everybody is in the center. So with part 1, you knew them and you knew their reason, but we're looking at the influences, we're looking at the childhood trauma, we're looking at the backstories, we're looking at how this person came from point A and now how they've reached to point B, which is the rehabilitation center. And also a little bit more help being offered. You see more of
administration.
Right, the administration. Our doctor is Dr. Pat. So you see her coming in and actually offering assistance. And I think this is where you actually take away some learning, tips.
To help the audience to self-discovery.
Right, that's what part 2 does. Yeah, that's what part 2 does. So part 1 says, yes, people out there go through this. Part 2 says, this is what happens when you do go through it. This is what you do.
No, so you definitely recommend those of us who have not seen part 1 to watch prior to Sunday's viewing.
It would help.
Tell us again where we can find it.
It's actually on the CDF, that is the Cultural Development Foundation page on YouTube. And I think it's under the name Curtain Call. There was this drama series in 2020 that showed the rehearsal process, the production process behind the scenes. So you see Ms. Dubois being frustrated with us, frustrated with me, maybe because I could not have gone to the place she wanted me to really give a good drama. You see all of that. So and
that's part of the process. It takes
a
lot to become another character, especially emotionally. It is daunting.
Yeah.
I found that very refreshing and so new for us as the audience in St. Lucia, because what Curtain Call allowed is for us to see that process.
Yes.
To see the actors in their rawest form.
And people appreciate it.
Yes. And then for just to see how also that you're able to grow in your acting skills as well. So I did not get a chance to say that when Curtain Call was going on, but congratulations on really sort of, it is a new aspect, breaking that seed in there, if you will, and creating for us as the audience a behind the scenes look at what it really takes. And I'm sure that there are, little girls and boys at home and those who are a bit older who got inspired and perhaps, would want to get into acting and knock on the door of Dramacan.
We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you.
And so that brings me to that question. Right. So in terms of taking on new talents, is Dramacan doing that now? And how do you go about new scouts?
We're always
Dramacan has always done this. I pursued theater arts at CSEC level. This is actually how I know Miss Danielle Dubois. She taught me from Form 1 to Form 5 at St. Joseph's Convent, where I pursued theater. And I think she created the group when I was in Form 4. At the time, I did not join right away, but she opened the opportunity for everybody who pursued theater arts that year to join. And so I jumped on the bandwagon. And when she reached out to me to do Go Puel Part 1, I jumped in. And some of the students that she had taught before, many years, maybe before me and even after me, she extended an invitation to come. And she has always extended the invitation, young, like old, it doesn't matter. She just wants you to come and be your rawest form. Yeah, she's willing to transform you, she's willing to help you. She's willing to discover, evoke, inspire, which is our motto. She's willing to do all of that. And she has never said no to anybody because she wants the group to evolve. She wants it to make a change. And so if you are thinking about it out there, you're welcome to join.
So how can they make contact with Dramacan?
We have a Facebook page. We're on Facebook. We are also on Instagram. Yes. So far, Facebook, and we have our website, our upcoming website, and we will be having a lot more social media presence after, or I should say this weekend, and right after Go Puel Part 2. So we can be reached, Ms. Dubois, any of us, you can contact any one of us because we work as a team.
Yeah.
It's not a one-person thing where we could just say, okay, well, this is Kijan's. Yes, it takes one person to have a vision, bring in other people to make a dream come true. And that's what Ms. Dubois has done.
Yeah, it's the whole teamwork aspect. So we can relate to that.
Yes.
So I'm totally psyched, very, very excited to be able to see a part 2 of that. And thank you, Roger, who's gone onto the Facebook page there for us, giving us a look at what you can expect when you log on. But before we close off, Herman, let me just say, because you mentioned a little earlier about the spoken word and so forth. So as in our closing moments, let me just remind you that Word Up and that Poetry Slam, it will feature a lively competition among young poets. All of them are students enrolled in various programs from the South Louis Community College. And the concept behind the Poetry Slam is to use poetry and spoken word to increase literacy, empower the youth, and inspire young creatives. And it is going to be broadcast live from the National Cultural Center this evening there, or this afternoon from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. You can always check out NTN on that. Facebook page is for the Nobel Laureate Festival Facebook page, South Louis Community College. So that's going to be quite an interesting one. Quickly, before we close off, Saturday, January 29th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and on Sunday as well, the 30th of January, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., you have the Lavery Panyard at Citrus Grove in Lavery Village. Lavery Promotions hosting a 2-day participatory planning exercise to develop a community strategy for the development of arts and the cultural expression. It is to design a community arts training and development center that would support artists and cultural groups and offer opportunity for training, exchange, rehearsals, and production in all art forms. I can see a wonderful marriage between Dramacan and Lavery Promotions, a sort of partnership there. Let's get on that. Let's bring out something big. Also in Library, before I hand off to Herma, there's the Paint the Village Festival. And that's hosted by Jonathan Gladden and the design of a mural on the wall surrounding the site of the proposed Community Arts Training and Development Center. And that's also going to be taking place this weekend. Give us all the details that you can about the Gopewell Rehabilitation Center.
Well, it's definitely going to be aired on the national television network as well as other local stations, so you can definitely tune in for that. One of the things I wanted to also remind you is today is the final date, is the deadline to put in your nominations for Independence Awards. It is the 28th of January, so if you have not gotten that in there, you definitely want to do so. It is the final day to do so, and of course head over to Dramacan's Facebook, Instagram pages to keep informed with their work as well as the details that you need for the Gopewell Rehabilitation Center. And we want to thank the two of you so much, Leona, Kijan, for taking the time out, enticing us and ensuring that we're ready to go out.
Well, we didn't give the time. It's 8 p.m. Airing time, 8 p.m.
Yes.
On NTN, all the television stations.
UTV, Calabash, DBS, NBC, Hot 7 TV.
All right, got to tune in at 8 p.m. That's on Sunday.
Yes, you will not regret it.
So forget about the popcorn Netflix.
No, you can have popcorn.
You have popcorn, but
popcorn,
no Netflix.
No Netflix. Okay?
Local television
That's
stations.
right. It's Dramacan all the way.
Of course. And with that, of course, we want to say a big thank you to you for always tuning in. It is Friday, so until next time, it is the Morning Update. This has been, rather, the Morning Update with Lisa and Herma. Thank you for joining us.
All right, I'm psyched. Ready.